similar ideas, and that's why
Yeah, it was so crazy reading that book, and I was like, yep, this is right. Yep, this is right.
Yeah,
he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and he has quite a good following, and he's good to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how has your life changed since you read the book?
Well, I've learned not to be the bitch and be the alpha male instead of,
And how so? Like grabbing them by the wrists or something?
No.
Grabbing them by the pussy.
And just
No, they're President
Sex
Trump's
time.
in Washington. He's not in Kentucky. So,
Who? Corey?
President Trump.
Oh, Trump.
Pussy grabbing.
Okay. I didn't follow.
I can't really see this as the alpha male type, really. So how do you use this in your life? Like, how do you get into alpha male mode?
Well, like before, I would always, like my wife and I was really incompliant with her. I would just...
Everything she would say, you'd say no.
That, and...
Now I know why you got a divorce.
Well, it's like if you want to go out to dinner or something, and you both go, well, I don't know, pick something. You just don't have no leadership.
Right.
And,
you don't lead the girl.
yeah, leading... The girl just wants to have fun. They just want to follow. They just want to get pretty and just... And go
not
out
have
and
to
fun.
worry about making decisions.
Yeah, no decision making.
Exactly.
And that's
So
what
that's
I learned a lot.
That's your main takeaway from the book, was just basically how to
Yeah.
lead girls.
Yeah, it was just like you just ask them straight up, hey, I'm going here at this time. Would you like to go? And if, usually 9 times out of 10, if they're into you, they're going to say yes with no problems at all.
So your next step is pretty much you just need to start a new process of getting women. You need to come up with something, whether it's approaching girls during the day that you see out and about, or if you go to bars and clubs.
Try the Tinder thing,
Yeah, or you could do the online thing. Now, this is why I like the online thing, and this is why I preach online dating, because women are used to guys coming up to them and approaching them in a weird way that's really awkward and makes them feel uncomfortable when they're out, like getting cucumbers at
the bar, yes,
or at the supermarket. Girls will get approached a lot, whenever they're shopping.
That's true.
Or, guys will come up and just be really
it's a
weird.
Freaky feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and they feel like they're kind of prey and these predators are coming after them. It makes them feel really bad. So a lot of girls only want to be approached whenever they're in the mood to be approached. Whenever they go out to the nightclubs, they are in the mood to be approached. They expect to be approached because they get all dolled up and they get, they're looking hot and they're like, let me just see if I can get a guy to buy me a drink, right? Yeah. But the problem with that is that you've got everyone there to compete with. And if you're not the most attractive alpha male at that bar that night, you're not going home with one of the girls. So it's a whole different skill set to approach somebody in person than it is to approach somebody online. Secondly, you don't even know whenever you go up to these girls if they're single, if they're even interested in you, if, there's even the prospect. There could be like they're at a bachelorette party and they don't want to leave their friends to go home with you. So you got to deal with a bunch of logistical problems as well. The way that I do it online is I only talk to girls that have already swiped right on me. And that's the beauty of Tinder and Hinge and Bumble, or at least Tinder and Bumble. Like, you talk to girls and you know that they're already interested in you. You can put your best foot forward by putting up your pictures You select pictures that make you look attractive, and we'll talk about, exactly what pictures to put up later on. But you put up the pictures that make you look as attractive as possible. You put up a bio, and that stays there forever. That's kind of like your funnel, like a sales funnel that you would put online. And then the girls will start to come to you. They'll come through the funnel. And then at that point, you already know, okay, the girls are single. I've got 200 girls that have liked me in the past couple of weeks. All of them I know are single. All of them are interested in me. All I have to do is just message the ones that I like, and then we'll start something. So it's very efficient, and the girls actually prefer to be approached these days online rather than in person, because they're only getting approached by guys that they've already shown an interest in.
Right.
So it's very efficient, and it's a way for guys, like, let's say you got 200 girls that have swiped right on you. 70 or 80 of those are girls that you're attracted to, so you swipe right on them. And if you pay for Tinder Gold, then you can see all the girls that have swiped right on you, and you can just choose which ones you want to talk to. And then they're warmed up, ready to go, and then you just send messages. You might send 80 messages that day, and then 70 of them will respond. And then you've got 70 girls that you're talking to now. Whereas if you were in the bar, you could never talk to 70 girls at one time. Never, ever. So if you want to line up a date or multiple dates, I've actually gone on 2 dates in a day before from online. You just schedule them out. I just recommend you schedule them like 3 hours apart. Just in case one of them flakes or something like that. But I actually had 2 girls show up one time, and I wasn't prepared for it. It was awkward. But anyway, so
that is an interesting method, though, for confidence, because I have done that once. I was on a Tinder date with someone that I had already been with. So I messed around with them around from 6 to 8. And then after that, I went on a date with another girl who I had not met yet from Tinder. And we went on about 9:30, and it was just fun because you're confident. You're not worried about anything, about trying to impress her. Mm-hmm. It's like you're just talking. Mm-hmm. And I think they really respond to the relaxed environment.
Oh, absolutely. The girls will 100% mirror you. So if you're confident, they're going to feel secure. If you're not confident, they're going to think, why is he not confident? And that's going to kind of put them on edge. So if you're feeling at ease in the interaction, they're going to feel at ease. If you're feeling nervous, they're going to feel nervous. So you've got to find a way to hone that ability to feel relaxed. And the best way to do that, honestly, is just to go on dates with a bunch of women. Because the first couple of times you go on dates, you're going to be really nervous. Just like Jerry Chase. Whenever he got to that girl's apartment, she immediately was turned off. And I start to wonder if that was because she could sense his anxiety from the moment that he walked to the door. Maybe he's not who he presented himself to be in the text messages. And so basically what you want to do is just learn to become congruent. And if you're feeling nervous, don't try to pretend that you're not feeling nervous. Just own it. Like, hey, I'm nervous. I don't go out with girls a whole lot. Just own it. And then you're being honest and genuine. But if you're feeling really nervous and you're trying to act confident, then there's an incongruency in the way that you're acting and the way that she can tell that you're feeling. And then it's almost like you're lying. And so that could put her off as well.
But there is a balance that you have to reach, because you do have to put on a certain persona for these women. Like,
how so?
I think, like, if you're just a total wreck, then you should just come out and just be straight up with them. But you can't. I don't think that could work every time, because if you just show up at a girl's house and every time you just piss your pants the second you walk in and just come, and now you're just like, you just cum your pants every time you see a woman, then she's not going to be attracted to you. So I think you should come out straight up that you are nervous the first few times, but I think it is important to build up confidence.
Oh, yeah. The more dates you go on, the more confidence you're going to build. And it's going to be natural.
With the same person.
Yeah, I think I don't go out a lot. I'm still nervous. I think that wears off pretty soon, because they expect you to get comfortable and just to take ownership of them, pretty much. Like, you are mine. We're going here. We're going there.
And there's a period on every date, like the first 15 minutes, you're always going to be a little bit nervous. It's always going to be a little bit awkward because you don't know each other and you're here with this expectation like we're going to hit it off and have a romantic relationship from this point forward. So there's like this period where you're small talking. You're just like, so how have you, what have you been doing today? Stuff like that, where you're just getting comfortable, kind of testing the water, filling each other out. And that's always going to be awkward, but you have to overcome that. And I've had dates where we literally would sit there for 2 hours and we never got past the first 15 minutes because we were...
If you were really attracted to that person and she was attracted to you, it would just come naturally. So... Well,
sort of, but the problem was, and this is one of the first dates that I went on Bumble, the reason that we were that we never got past the first few minutes is because we were both putting on a show for each other and we never really let down our walls and let us connect on a real level. Like she was trying too hard and I was trying too hard. And so there was just always this like block that was between us that kept us from like really connecting. And so it's important that in the first, 15, 20 minutes that you allow yourself to let down the wall and to just be however you feel. And if you can be however you feel, you're going to come across genuine and it will be attractive to the girl. More attractive than if you just tried to be the man and just boss her around, tell her what to do and all that stuff, just basically try to be an alpha male, even though she can tell that you're really not. Yeah, nothing's worse than that.
A good way to ease into knowing someone you don't know. I've used this method. It's called the Ford method. And pretty much it stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dream. And it's set up like that because each one is less intrusive than the last. So family is pretty... You can just ask that about anyone. Like, what about your sisters? You like your family? Second one, after you get to know her family, then she's more comfortable with you. So you can ask about her occupation. So what do you do? What do you like that? Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. After that, she's more comfortable with you. So you can talk about, okay, so what do you do for fun on the weekends? Now you know her on a more personal level and you know what she likes to do. So you can get a better idea of who she is. So after that, you can get to the most personal part, which is dreams. Like, what do you want to do with your life? What's this all going to?
Oh, I love it.
If you're straight up with that, and usually the dream, that's the part that usually gets pretty deep, and you can talk about that for like half an hour at least. And then you're already pretty comfortable because
then you're talking about her passions.
Yeah. And she kind of accidentally gets comfortable with you because now she's letting you know all this stuff about herself. And now it's a little more like you know each other.
And then whenever you ask her one of these questions, then she has to ask you one of these questions.
Yes. So just... like theoretically, it's supposed to just keep conversation going forever because you spend like a while talking about her family because you have tons of stories about family and like what happened and all like funny stuff, and you have a ton of stories from work because that's what you do every day, and you have a ton of stories from your recreation because that's what you do on the weekends, and your dreams that's what you're thinking about 24/7. So you can just talk about that, and that should fill up a whole night. And by the end of the night, you're supposed to get to know each other so well that the second date is easy. So now you have all this source material.
Isn't that too much?
I don't think so, because I think on the first date, if you just small talk the whole time, I think they do get annoyed at a certain point.
You've got to get past that surface level conversation. You've got to get to where people
You won't give out too much information.
You're not gonna. Trust me, you're not going to have time during that date to get through everything in your life. You know what I mean? Like the most important thing is to everybody's got a surface level conversation where it's like you meet somebody and at the very, very base they're just like, hey, how are you? Say good, how are you? And that's just an auto response. That's something that you don't even have to think about. Like I can be sitting there texting and somebody walks up to me and says, hey, well, how are you today? I'll say, oh, I'm good. How are you? And I don't even have to literally even stop texting to think about my response to that because you say it so many times. So whenever you're talking about like, how was your day? What do you do for work? Stuff like that. Those are very basic surface level things that people really don't even have to emotionally invest in. But then when you get to the part where it's like, what do you want to do? Like, what are your dreams? Like, nobody asked that.
Yeah.
Nobody asked that. So then you actually have to stop and snap out of that surface level and go deep into your passions and emotions. And I kind of do the same thing with girls. Only I have like a set list of questions that I will ask to try to get to the same thing that Bullet here was talking about. But basically, the purpose is exactly the same. Get them to talk about things that they're really passionate about, like favorite childhood memories. Get to the root of who they are, and you will see their eyes